And with me in this first part of a presentation, I will be helped by Anna Moreno, that will talk you about something very, very complicated. That is how it works for the adoption of how we can promote the adoption of BIM in the EU. And okay, let's start about my presentation that is focusing on the role of our buildingSMART regulatory domain in the digital regulatory evolution. First of all, for who of you are not don't know us, this is the regulatory room steering committee. As you can see, all the region, world region are well represented, and as you probably have seen this is our roadmap that says what we are focusing on. The main lines are the two in the middle, talking about technology and implementation. So our main job is actually to work on the technology to make it the open BIM technology, to make it more fit, to fit it more to the regulatory requirements, and support the technology with some implementation guides and guidelines. We also involved in, of course, engage the institutions to be involved to promote the open BIM for regulatory use. And also we have some part of us making evaluation and sustain to the project that are going live or progressing in the world. What we've done, just to make the long story short, we have two projects we have that are completed in this moment in the last 6 months. One is the regulatory information requirements. That is, let's say that our iconic project, because it has been the first time we started to introduce properties related to regulatory into IFC. It has been managed by Tommy Henton with the help of Nick Nisbet. This is, we have now delivered use case management, of course, the data dictionary, and the IFC standard final update will be available in a couple of months, we hope. There are some bureaucratic things that we have to close. We, of course, talking about this project is one of the reasons why we have to talk about our future. Is that has been very teaching us a lot of stuff. When we started to work on the properties that are required for information for regulatory, the number rised up very, very fast. We were talking about 7,000-8,000 new properties that were required. Just checking the projects that are already trying to use IFC for regulatory, especially for digital building permitting. So we are talking about, we have the very, very strict collaboration with the Estonian group, with the Finnish group, and also with Singapore and some others, and also with China. And so this number rised up very, very, very fast. At the beginning, you know, what happens, the group said, okay, it's because the laws, the legal requirements are too complicated and so on. But after some period, now the number of properties that we added, we added to IFC are much, much less. It's about 4,000, and no, 400. Sorry. Sorry, don't scare. 400. But we found that many of the others that we cut off were very important, and we are discussing. No, we are not discussing. We are already planning for the second version of this project to enhance the capability of IFC to be used in regulatory. The second project is the project I had the honor to manage, is about the guidance for regulators. This has been, and at the same time, another project that the guidance is downloadable from the website, from the buildingSMART website. And it has been very useful for us to understand to collect some requirements from different projects, especially regarding not the technology, but the process that we have been discussing so long. Yesterday with Chinchi Leong presented us so many issues and solutions they find in Singapore to make this, but we also discussing with the other project owners in the different nations. So we have learned a lot about the process. Then we have some regular domain ongoing activities that regarding some relations, very good relation with university. We are following some European project and so on. We have talking also about some research program about the use of AI in regulatory, some survey about what's going on. But at the end, I have to be honest, the room, the momentum that OpenBeam is living in regulatory, and if you followed the session this morning about the mandates, it clarify what's going on. Surprise that a little bit. So we understand that the room has to evolve, and so we start talking about how to do this, and we'll be very, very happy if you can help us in telling us what you think is most important for your experience, and also if you want to join us, it would be a very good thing if you can help us in making this evolution. We started from the role of domains, and we started by during this brainstorming, and we started from the point number 2, that is what buildingSMART think that is needed for ask to the domains, ensuring that OpenBeam workflow addresses sector requirements. So we watch at the new OpenBeam proposal, we see all the problem, but you see a workflow that does not include approval or maintenance of the building. And so we start working on this. We say, what is it? What can we do with the tools that are available? And we started from this workflow that has been designed almost 10 years ago by Masaki Muto. Thank you for attending here, for attending the session. That is attending the session, but no one really said that is not working. There have been some changes, but is absolutely valid. So we started to say, what can you do in this workflow that is the approval of a concept design, approval, technical design, and so on? What can we do with IFC and the other tools of OpenBeam? But going in this direction, we started also this. We find this. We start to look at these tools we try to look at these tools with the eye of the regulator. I didn't put a black background to this, otherwise it was like in the it was too scary. This eye watching the task. We have the regulators is in the middle of a situation where there is asset owners that are demanding him something. There is a supply chain that is working with the regulators. There are designers, there are facility managers that are working with them, with their relations. The main flows are building permitting, but also public asset management. And there are many other actors and other forces that are around this regulator. Unfortunately, there are also a lot of Sunbeam coming from different direction, asking them for new public requirement, for public servant training, and so on. This came out from the global. A good help come from the global IFC mandates that has been discussed this morning. And because many mandates, for example, are regarding procurement and not digital building permitting. And also we saw that the public asset management is really present in the requirements. So accordingly, we also have some study results. We already talked about this map that is showing that the open BIM adoption in regulatory is wide, but is still spot-wise. There is a survey that revealed that the main problem, one of the main problems are related that are perceived by the institution are about complexity of BIM and difficulty of business reorganization. And so we created a map about the implementation principles, and we try with this. Who is following the room knows that we have these low-hanging fruits. That means do it simple, keep it simple, and start to do something. To go where? To automatic regulatory process that is a long-term ambition. What we learned in the last with the new story that happened in this period, that the experience that we have about use of regulatory is that there is not only one path to reach there. Okay, we use the tube map representation. There is someone who is going to automate a regulatory process, passing through digital archiving and then building permitting. There is someone that started from open BIM to support internal processes and the building permit, and then passing to building permit. That is something that is focusing on efficiency of public services. There is something that is looking for more transparency, and so they're going to use open BIM for transparency. I put also the flags of the country. So sustainability line is more or less this a very simple way of watching what happened in Finland. Efficiency line is something that, in our opinion, is close to the main requirement for Coronet X here in Singapore, and transparency line is something that is happening in my country, in Italy. So accordingly, we understood that if we have to take a look to what is going on, we have to think that BSDD, IDS, UCM, and IFC has to fit all these different milestones, not only the approval. So we have to start thinking about what can we do in IFC or in IDS or in open BIM to make it good also for open BIM digital archiving or open BIM support to internal processes. Another thing that we discovered during our story, our activity, is that there is very different paces in different countries. So when a regulator is Ada Fungus is here, and she will talk very well about. She followed many of these presentations, so she was talking today about her worries about the pace of a proceeding of a process in Hong Kong, and so every country should also ask itself, when are you in the process? Because everybody knows that is a long process, and what's the pace of the progression of a process. So everything it was collected in a brainstorming, and so our idea is that regulatory domain would, but they wish, because we still have to create the structure to make this. So support the integration of open BIM, integrated, tailored to process maturity, not only to digital building permitting, but also in the previous phases. Provide pathways to standard BIM adoption of different public sector organizations, because we saw very easily that clearly that different part of public service can have very different requirements. And this is, for example, for an IDS can be very important in our opinion, especially to configure it in the right way. Okay, of course, we will continue to provide the references, tip and tricks, and documentation coming from the trailblazers from Finland, from Estonia, from Singapore, from Dubai, and so on, and anyone else that is doing things like that. And continue, of course, to increase our collaboration with other building smart domains and national chapters. But what about technical, watching this more from a technical point of view? Okay, digital data archiving is a focus for not only digital building permitting, for now in this moment for the room, should be a focus. Management of public assets and procurement processes in public services is something that is creating many requirements. We were considering many requirements coming from some legal requirements just related to crazy things that comes from legal source on. Instead, they were coming from something that happened after the approval, and that were coming from the public asset management and procurement. Explore some AI technology, because we are convinced that it is, but of course from a legal eye, so understanding what can be done from a legal point of view. Heavily focus a little bit more on heavily regulating the industry and ecosystems. To project or to construct an hospital is very different from projecting a cottage. So this is something that we have to focus, or nothing to say about infrastructure that are even more interesting, more complex. Prioritize data quality. There is a small worm that is inside the model from a regulatory point of view that is going to be used for regulatory, is that in the same model we have raw data and calculated data. We have to put some calculated data because they are needed for regulatory requirements. But until at the end, someone will ask if calculated data is compliant with the raw data that are inside. And this is something that we have to discuss and to talk with the technical sector about. And let me close with Jan Saar, our buildingSMART International CEO, meme that is digital building permitting is open BIM killer app. And the regulatory domain is focusing on making digital building permitting an applicable reality. Thank you. And now I leave the stage to Anna, that is talking about something very more complex. So.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. So during the Italian summit in Rome, I proposed the organization of a forum with all the European chapter. And you can see here we have 23 flags, but they are in reality, I think, are about 20 or 19 chapters, because some of them, like Benelux, represent more countries. What is the role that we want to give to this European Open BIM Forum, EOF? Is because we all in Europe have the same European legislation, but we then implement at national level in our laws. So we have more or less 28 different legislation for the same European directive, and with, of course, different languages. So what we thought is that we can cooperate with the European Commission from one side and from our national government on the other side. We could achieve better results, because if already in European directive we can address the problem of, for instance, readability, software readable rules, it will be easier for all the countries to implement that. And also will be easier to have cheaper software, because the same software will work for 28 countries, and not it is now that every country has his own software. Okay, sorry. The other thing is that we have already a group which is called European BIM Task Group, that is managing the legislation part, and also how to implement BIM within the different countries. But being chapter of buildingSMART International, we have the knowledge how to develop the standards that could be used by the EU BIM Task Group to implement the directives in Europe. So EU BIM Task Group was established in 2016, and our actual CEO was previously the chair of this task group. And so the idea is to encourage the common use of BIM in public works. And they have already published a handbook to provide a common framework on BIM adoption across Europe, and as developing some guidelines to help the public officer to implement BIM. What is the short-term objective is just to provide evidence and communicate and promote awareness of the increasing transparency and efficiency that use of BIM brings to the public authorities, and to solve the problem of discrepancy in design requirements. And this also was very important, saving time, because there is employee shortage in all Europe, especially in small municipalities. We have sometimes just one part-time person that work for more than one municipalities. They do not have the time neither to go training, so to change the system, nor to have to use the new system. And the other short-term objective is will be the standardization of EIR, OIR, AIR, and etc. So to overcome the challenges, as I just said, we have very few people working into municipalities. The idea, for instance, is to provide them with an external support, which is expert of open standards, to involve the end user and the private sector to help this transition process. And provide professional training and financial incentives. Professional training, we know very well what buildingSMART is doing, and probably as chapters we will verify the possibility to do some dedicated training for the e-permitting. And again, being 20 chapters with the same problem, we can join our effort and achieve better results. Also best practice, and we have and the way out we can prepare these training materials can be shared among all them. So in the end, what EOF could offer is first a project, the output of a project that I will show now, which is exchange information requirements along the authorization process. And it is called Open BIM Harmony. Harmony, of course, because we need to harmonize all our countries. Guideline for public administration. Almost each of the European chapter have developed their own guideline in their own language, and that's fine. But we would like to see how it's possible to have a European guideline, and then that can be implemented. This will help also the market, because if there are companies working more than one European countries, they will not need to learn a different system. So again, a dedicated training for e-permitting procedure, and open platform for digital building permits by creating standards for the development of open API. I will say just a few words related to this project. Is still under approval by all the chapters, because everybody has to look into more detail. But anyway, the challenges that are faced are the problem of the presence of I say more than 94% of small medium enterprises that need to adopt BIM in order to use then the e-permitting platform. And there is a lack of competence both among clients and also on, as we said before, on municipalities that in the end provide the final requirement. And there are unclear information requirements. I can say the Italian experience, that we have so many such a complex procedure, because we have a national, regional, and a local level for different standards requirements that change from one region to another, from one municipality to another. And I learned that it's the same almost in all European countries. So there are different ways to require and follow up on requirements, and we really want to harmonize all this. So the idea is to have a more uniform approach on how to specify and agree on information requirements. And this will help the clients to specify their information, but also designer, contractors, and software vendors will have advantage for this harmonization. And in the end, SMEs will succeed in using Open BIM. This is just a vision on the requirement framework for considering all the different countries. So here you see all the different documents, and here you see all the different flags. And so that's why we call this Open BIM Harmony. And the overall principle, so it's really the basic is to specify information requirements, establish a common data environment, and provide shared resources, for example, maps, model of existing building. So this is for sure not an easy task, but anyway, we already started to have a first document. So it's a pre-definition of exchange information requirements, and then we will go on with the other parts. This last slide that was kindly provided by the Romanian partner. This is the idea of the shared platform where we can have we can share these different system, IFC validation, IDS, IFC viewer, and final human visual checks. And we need to provide APIs in order to make interoperable the different system, because there are so many different departments requiring proposing the requirements, that we need really something that makes the process easier to be transferred in a digital format. So in conclusion, we know that BIM can streamline permitting, urban planning, and decision making. But there are some barriers to be removed. The first will be education, so promote awareness, and then to provide guidelines and investment to support this digital transformation. We all know that standards ensure long-term interoperability, and this is something that should be very clear for the public administration, and avoiding what is already happening, that they are buying proprietary system, and with a lot of issues related to the management of long-term data. And then in the future, we need also to we'll want to find a common vision for automation and digital twins for efficiency and sustainability. This was my last slide. So we thank you, and I hope everything was clear. Thank you.
Let me, if you can scan my my profile, and please send me any requirement for information, or write to regulatory@buildingsmart.org. As we say, we are desperately looking for people for volunteers that want to help us in the process of evolution of this very important part of OpenBIM. Thank you.
Franco, actually, we are way ahead, so we can enjoy like 10 or 15 minutes of QA session if we have some questions around this side. So, any questions?
We're available.
Thanks. A quick question. You obviously went through a number of the barriers to adoption for authorities reviewing proposed schemes through IFC. Is one of the barriers just the cost as well, and the cost of the licensing?
We didn't discuss about this actually, but I think that let me say that the first thing we are focusing in this moment is the product that we are proposing, the OpenBIM proposal, is fitting or not. Because, for example, IFC we started, but IDS we have to create some evaluation. We are evaluating how to, let's say, have to fulfill some requirements that are coming from the experience. BSDD in case is also asking for some requirement. Is probably asking for some requirements, especially if it's going to be used for construction and procurement, because you have different codes if you are using the same part of the building is different codes if you are in the construction phase or if you are in the maintenance and procurement activity and so on. So before to talk about the cost, we have to ask to buildingSMART how much is it to be able then to propose to someone about talk about the cost for the software. For the implementation, of course, the difference between different institutions is so high, and it's so difficult for us to understand. It's better federal legislation, is better full national central legislation, which kind of difference you have from one to the other. How can you manage, for example, we are learning a lot about how to manage the local at the local level this process from the Finland, because Finland is not so many people, but it's very big. It's a huge country, so they have many small municipalities, and this is something that makes things more complicated. We would be very, very happy to create a cost model, but we are still we don't have the number of tests that can afford us to give some ideas of the numbers.
Okay, thanks. Yeah.
Hello, Even Roth from the Norwegian Building Authorities. Can you take up the slide where you show the process? Is that possible?
You say
one of the first you had. Because what I'm wondering a little bit is that...
Is this one or...
No, the old one. That one, yeah, you passed it. Because to digitalize, I can say this because we have been working with this in 25 years in Norway.
Yeah.
To digitalize this with also the technical approval, as they do in many European and Asian countries, I know, where the authorities also check the technical building codes, also how you build the buildings. That is a quite complicated task, which I think is a good idea to start thinking about it, identify which properties and so on, because I think the properties on the for fire safety, energy, and so on is more or less the same. But the legislation is different from countries to countries. So even start with set up a system where you can go to the internet, fill out an application, maybe get easy access to the any GIS system that exists in that municipalities, and then give a feedback and approval is a huge task in itself, and it takes years to train the municipalities and to use such system. So maybe you should split up these elephants and start maybe, and I think the BIM model is maybe that you should wait until the end. BIM is not important in Norway. So you should use something experience we have made in, I think it's 15 years ago, during together with buildingSMART chapter in Norway, to set up a requirement for a BIM model only for the first phase here, from the concept approval, only for the concept approval. That system has been on the market for 12 years. It's not used by the market, the architects or the applicants, or by the municipality. They don't even ask for it. And the reason why is they don't ask for it because they have more than enough to set up the rest of the system to have this communication. We call it the communication highway up and running. So we have been working for this for many years. Now it's up and stable. Now they are starting to think about how can we start implementing BIM and the technical building codes, because that is so complicated. The building code is terrible. I think I heard in a break here that I think it was one of the domain sessions here, that the authorities need to start to clean up their messy building codes, because the building codes is built up on over maybe hundreds of years in Europe. So there's a total mess. They need to go into the building codes before you can start digitalizing them. And that's a huge task. So therefore my advice is start to focus to have the municipalities and the local authorities to build up the communication highway between the municipalities and the applicant and back again. Then you have more than enough for many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Øyvind. I really appreciate the comment of Øyvind that has been for many years also the chair of a regulatory domain, and is absolutely clear that is very complicated, this stuff. The only thing that we have now is that things are going a little bit faster than we supposed. We also were thinking that probably it will take more time, and we had more time for prepare the how long? 1 minute, it's okay. It's time. It's time. So
this one, please.
Okay. Anyway, thank you for your suggestion, and we continue to remain humble. Okay. And now, Jigao is
You want to move this side?
yeah.
Or you want to stay there?
I think yeah. Here we go. Okay. So,
good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ge from Tsinghua University, and this is my colleague Du Xinyi. Thank you for being here today. I'm excited to share with you the customizable beam checking technology based on OpenBeam and SNL, especially how SNL is transforming smart beam checking and building code compliance in major cities of China. Today, I will cover 3 key areas. First, the context and the objectives behind using OpenBeam and SNL in our solution. Second, I will walk you through the technical details of our SNL. Lastly, I will present the real-world use cases of SNL in major Chinese cities. The current manual review process is time-consuming, subjective, and complex. 2D drawings have limited information, making it harder to validate against the building regulations. On the contrary, smart checking is to automate this process, making compliance smart, transparent, and efficient by turning regulations into machine-readable code. Translating building regulations into checkable digital rules is challenging. Let's look at this example. Fire prevention code states that the fire endurance of a wall around the cable wells shall not be less than 1.0. How do we convert this into something that a machine can understand? There are 3 methods of automatic code checking currently. And let's look at how they deal with this kind of code. The first method is hard coding. Programmers need to hard code the requirements into machine-readable language, like the Java language, C++, or C#. But it's hard for end users to understand. They have to deal with a lot of programming techniques and mathematics. The second method is the code template, which is more accessible for end user. However, there are a lot of limitations for customization of the sentence. Most of the sentence is already fixed by the templates, and there is only some small blanks that can be filled by the user. This kind of template is also not robust enough to cover all user cases. For example, it might not support a specific object like a cable wire here. The last method is the SNL we proposed, which is the structure natural language. In the example here, we can see that the sentence is broken into small pieces that can all be customizable by end user, and it is converting this file prevention code perfectly to a machine readable format, while allowing clear understanding and full customization capability. Let's look at the comparison between the three methods and why I think SNL is a better solution for smart beam checking. Although hard coding can cover as many codes as we need, it relies on programmer to develop the software, and the code itself is not transparent to end users. As a result, end user also have a weak understanding of the checking logic and the result. And code template is solving this problem by allowing users to customize the building code to some extent. However, building code varies from standard to standard. When most of the sentence is fixed by code templates, there is a low coverage of possible building regulations. SNL balances the flexibility of hard coding and the user-friendliness of the template. It allows end user to customize regulation easily, and it allows high adaptability across various standards. And it provides clear transparency in checking logic. This makes SNL the best approach for smart beam compliance. Now that we understand why SNL is valuable, let's explore the details of our solution based on OpenBeam and SNL. There are two tools provided by our team to achieve the SNL smart checking goals. There is a web platform for editing SNL, and there is also a desk software for beam checking. We develop a complete workflow from end to end. Our team has been collecting diverse beam models from different software. Some of them are international software, and others are Chinese domestic modeling tools. To get ready for SNL checking, our team needs to ensure the quality of the IFC model. The IFC model have to be checkable. Diverse models will all go through our data quality checking against the IDS. And the next step, the key step of our OpenBeam and SNL workflow is the building code checking. User can customize SNL file from our SNL editor tool, and the SNL files will be used to check the high quality IFC files from the previous step. By using the building code checker based on SNL, users can understand how their beam model meets the building code requirements. After all the checking process, the IFC file quality is high and also aligned with building code requirements now. Then the model can be used in multiple applications. For example, operation management, urban governance, urban renewal, and space management. Now, let's look at the first part of the checking process, which is the data quality checking for IFC files. Our solution supports 17 different types of data quality checking items, covering model structure, object, visualization, property, and some AI checking capabilities. There is a demo video showing the IDS checking process to ensure the quality of the IFC models. After reviewing the rules in the model checker, users run checking with one click and get the result. For example, we can tell if a building story naming is standardized and check if components have material of certain properties. I believe everyone understands IDS very well in this room. After the data quality checking, let's look at the second part, maybe the most important part of our workflow, which is the SNL customization and using the customized SNL to run the building code checking. SNL is a structured natural language for short. is a technology that converts human-readable text into machine-readable rules for automatic code checking. It allows engineers to easily write, view, reuse, and maintain without complex coding. And SL makes the building regulations checking more efficient, transparent, and customizable. With the SL, complex compliance checking becomes accessible to more users, reducing manual work while ensuring accuracy. You don't need to do the mathematics. You don't need to have the skills of computer programming. To better understand the customization of SL, let's use the same file prevention code as an example to dive deep into the components of SL. Each building regulation sentence is broken into several parts, and each part is represented by a different color. And let the user customize each part to allow maximum flexibility. For example, to translate this fire prevention code into SL, we need to first use the right logic indicator, define the objects and the properties, select the relationship, and set up the operator and the comparators when needed. The first component of SL is the logic indicator. A logic indicator is a conjunction that defines the backbone of each sentence and the logic between each sentence. For example, we are using if, and, then to set up the structure of this sentence. The second component is the object and the property. For example, the red and the green words, including building, keep well, wall, fire endurance from the image above. Objects and the properties are carried from the building dictionary like the BSDD. The third component is the relationship. For example, the blue words in the image above. So far, SNL has explored thousands of building regulations and support 89 different types of relationships, like the spatial relationship, distance relationship between these objects. We not only support simple relations like the has, parallel to, on top of, on bottom of, but also support more complex relationships. For example, we can check there if an object within both a specific vertical distance or a horizontal distance of a boundary. The last component is the operator and the comparators. For example, the yellow words more than 1.0 is in the image above. SL now support 17 types of operators and comparators for assessment and calculation. Combining different variations of this kind of components, we allow flexible customization of the codes. This scale can be grown according to different building regulation requirements in different cities in the future to make SL even more robust. And we design a web platform that is cbeams.org.cn for users to easily customize their own SL. Engineer can type in the sentence letter by letter, and each typed word will be colored automatically. Beginners can start from a structure and follow the hint of each word to complete their sentences. On our customization website, user can select a sentence structure easily, and even someone without computer programming background can edit their own SL easily. In our system, there are currently 25 common structures for the beginners. As a starting point, it should be noted that these kind of structures are not limiting the flexibility of SNL. Users can customize their own structure as needed. To make the checking process even more intuitive, we also provide a SNL standard library on this website. We have covered more than 600 national and local building standards and codes for construction drawings, fire prevention checking, and planning checking. If users don't want to customize their own SL, they can select necessary rules for the preformed library. It's a plug and play. Now we have high quality FC file and customized SL. They can be combined in our model checker to run a smart beam checking. Our model checker will highlight the errors in the model and export the checking result as a report. It could be a text report, and it could be a BCF report. Yeah, this video shows an overall process of SNL building regulation checking. Knowledge base also allows users to customize and edit their building codes. User can check and manage the code details in our system. When using SL for checking, our system supports different types of building regulations. We will take some examples. The first example is checking if every unit have a living room, bedroom. The second example is checking the evacuation path. We want to make sure the distance from any evacuation door and the fire exit is shorter than requirement. Our model checker automatically identifies the fire exit and the evacuation doors and determine the path in between. The last example is a walkway clearance. The building code requires the AO clear width to always more than a requirement. Our model checker automatically understands the space and calculate the width of the section in this kind of space. And besides the ability of customization, I think an important advantage of our checker is it reduces the information requirement. Of course, we can require every properties. We can require the user to input every kind of properties in the model, but it doesn't work in real world because the user will be crazy because this kind of information requirement is very hard to fulfill. So we like the checker to deduce as much as information, like which part of the wall is the exterior wall, which part of the wall is the interior wall, this kind of information. And they have to label it manually. By enabling customizable, transparent compliance checking, SL is making BIM regulations more accessible and efficient. And our work was recognized as the winner of technology solution by buildingSMART in 2023 in Norway. Okay, this is the summary of SNL solution technical detail. The solution has been used in several major Chinese cities in the past few years. Let's look at the use case in these cities. Our solution has now been used in this kind of cities. Shenzhen is the youngest first-tier city in China, and is the first city using OpenBIM and SNL for BIM checking. Until now, we have developed more than 600 regulations and collected more than 30,000 models in this city. We have laid a great impact on building regulations checking. There have been hundreds of regulations, including construction regulations, and fire prevention regulations, and planning regulations. They are all being digitalized and managed on our customization platform. And up to now, we have utilized this kind of a solution on more than 30,000 FC models in more than 1,000 projects to improve their building regulations checking process. And this is the fire prevention e-permission system of Shenzhen. And Shenzhen also have a construction e-permission systems. We have been actively working in Shanghai to deliver a more comprehensive solution. And Shanghai is the largest city in China. We have established more than 10 sets of regulations covering multiple levels, including national regulations, industrial regulations, and Shanghai local regulations. Since the scope of the building approval grew, we are now able to check models from different industries, including architecture, structure, drainage, HVAC, electricity, and site models. The building type also varies from model to model. We are now checking multiple types of buildings in Shanghai, including public buildings, residential buildings, and factories, etc. Let's look at some demonstration and see how to check the model in Shanghai. As we can see, the rules is checking the handrails height requirement, and the incorrect component is a highlight in a 3D viewer. Another example is a requirement of every bedroom to have a window. From the checking result here, we can see that the highlight room doesn't have a window linked. And we can check the width requirement of the door also. After checking, the users can see a bedroom doors that doesn't meet the requirement. And this is the Shanghai information system. And Chengdu, does anybody knows Chengdu? It's also a very big city in China. It's the hometown of Panda. In Chengdu, our solution has been used in over 100 registered companies by over 200 registered individuals. Right now, this solution is implemented widely in Chengdu. There will be 185 gigabits of BIM models being uploaded and checked using our OpenBIM and SNL solution every year. And this is the preview of the Chengdu model checking platform using our checking engine, the SNL engine. Users log into the system, select the BIM checking modules, select a project from their list, and view the checking result of the multiple models in this project. And I know you guys are very scared of Chinese characters. Here are some good news. In Hong Kong, recently we support the smart checking based on SL in English. Here is a preview of the English SNL building codes used in Hong Kong. As you can see, each sentence is separated into several sub-sentence SNL sub-sentence. And the users can edit the English sentence using our platform either. For example, they can choose different English objects names from the building dictionary, and they can add, extend, and delete a sentence easily. And our model checker also supports English user interface recently. So I think that's it. Here, our team's contributors, and we believe this solution will be more accessible and transparent, and ultimately make everyone a creator of a 3D world. Thank you so much.
Any questions?
It is a very good demonstration, and I'm Steve Ho from which is from Hong Kong. I would like to ask if is the SNL translated the human readable requirements into machine readable requirements, because when I observe your demonstration, and it seems that your checking tools is able to check the escape route, is able to generate the escape route distance from one room to the other rooms. Actually, I would like to ask, is the generation is using something which is hard coding into background? Because when generating the escape route, it seems that we should rely on some algorithms to doing this. So is the SNL model, they could recognize that, oh, you want to check the distance checking now, then the computer will make use of the preset algorithm which developed before for distance checking, and then running it. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, the SL need programming. It's just not hard coding programming. We have 89 relationships in SL. Each relationship has at least one algorithm to support this kind of computation. So if we want to compute a distance, or there are a lot of kind of distance: vertical distance, horizontal distance, shortest distance. There is a pre-coded algorithm in the checker to support your requirement.
Thank you. I'm from the Netherlands. It's a very interesting presentation. I was wondering, this seems to be also very a good possibility to use AI, yeah, in order to translate all the requirements from the codes to this SNL in this language to make the checker. Is that right? Do you have some experience with that?
Yeah, I think this is a very good point. Yeah, we are trying translating the natural language into SNL by the artificial intelligence. Of course, we are trying it for more than 2 years, but the result is not good enough. And I and I think it's not so. It's not an emergent issue because we can manually make the SNL sentence and we can use it for a very, very long time. I think artificial intelligence is more useful for the high frequency items of like the checking process, not the editing, not the regulation editing process. Yeah, we will make it. What do you have?
Maybe I can add on to that. So like so we try some tools, the AI tools, to break down the natural language, but it needs review. So even if you're breaking it manually, you still need an expert in the discipline, like architecture, structure. You need to review it because even for the natural language building codes, there are different understandings. So really need an expert to kind of review and modify it. Yeah, and recently I guess we tried with DeepSeek, right?
Yeah, the Chinese big model, Chinese large LLM.
Yeah. Even Ruth here again. Thank you. Very interesting presentation. I really hope that the 3 research projects in Europe about digital building permit have been in contact with you and can give some advice for Europe. But I'm still wondering a little bit, because when I said that is a challenge to have the building codes digitalized, is because we have something in Europe, at least, they call lawyers. Have you heard about them? and that is a big issue, because how can we trust that you take the process for the building codes we have today, that is written and interpreted in dozens or hundreds different ways and changing all the time? Even there's no more colleagues here, no. When you have a new lawyer, there is a new interpretation of the same regulation, more or less all the time. So how can we be sure that, because this has to be robust, and again, if you have been through this checker as an applicant, or you have built something, you need to be assured, if you have to meet in court for some reason, that this is according to the regulation. So how do you ensure that in all this? Have you been thinking on this, or how it? Because in Norway, for example, now I said we try to clean up the regulation, and then we try to look to this SNL because it's a good structural way. But each time we go in and try to clean up a sentence, we need to go to this legal regulation change process, and that takes time. So yeah, that's. Do you have any experience with this?
Actually, the users ask the same question many times in China. I think nobody can ensure the quality of the translation, but we will invite some expert from China. They are very qualified persons, not us. We are computer guys. We can make that kind of a commitment. So it's a very good quality of explanation. I think I don't have that kind of skill. So we invite some experts, and some experts are the original guys make this kind of regulations. I think it will be very helpful for this kind of a process. And besides that, we will make a large test cases. We will have a very large test cases to make every user think the results are reliable.
Just a quick question. Thank you so much for the presentation. I'm Hansi from the University of Hong Kong. I'm just wondering about the generative. I know this is the regulatory panel, but how about the generative potential of this SNL? As in, can it also be used to drive design or to prompt a generative kind of design? Like right now, you're checking the regulation with this set of rules. But I can, from like a kind of a life cycle approach, I can also see it being used as a way to prompt design options or to evaluate a better version of the design, like to not just check the issue, but actually provide corrective potential solution to that. Has that been explored? Thank you.
So right now we're only working with the checking process. So the modeling process and the checking process are separate, because you need a point to do the delivery of the model. So we transfer it to IFC and do the checking. But that, I think what you mentioned is also possible. So is that we can integrate because it's like a engine, the checking engine. So we can integrate it into some modeling softwares, and we can do the checking when you're do the modeling and design.
Hi, I think very interesting. We also, I'm from buildingSMART India chapter, and in India also as a part of ease of doing business, more than 500 cities are being considered for automated drawing approval systems, and now in some places model approval systems as well. So in your case, what Franco just showed, probably from a approval perspective during the life cycle of the project, you have initial approvals that sometimes goes to one body or authority body, and maybe submission might be coming in from an architect as a stakeholder, while at a later date when you're going for a fire approval or a permit occupancy approvals, the permit or the authority which is approving that may change. In your case, like throughout the project life cycle, is the approving authority the same, or do they keep changing? And if it is changing, are we tracking the changes in the like the life cycle of the approval, not as an instant as such?
I'm not sure whether I understand clearly your question, but so we have throughout the process we have like the planning review and
Yes.
the design review, the fire protection review, and those are like different departments, and for each of them we develop rules for them, like specifically.
Okay, so the same question, like if you have like these three departments, and say when the building is now coming nearly completion, there will be one department which will give an occupancy approval. So you are applying for occupancy or the final approval. So in these approvals which comes at different stages of the project, are we connecting, is it connected or is it instant based? Like every approval is that instant of checking and approving systems in that instance, or are these multiple events happening over the life cycle of the project also connected? So if I have approved a plan at a schematic level, and if the same plan at a construction level has come for some additional approvals, then I can connect that there is something that has changed. So is there a connectivity also there, or is it instant based? I don't know if I was able to communicate my question.
I think it's separate, and also like we develop we don't develop the platform. So the OA system, we don't develop them. We only have the engine, the checker.
Okay.
Yeah, we supply the checking services. In the future, I hope the whole process will be.
Yeah, in the future we hope the whole process can be integrated.
Okay, because that's one of the biggest industry problem that we are facing, and maybe I think we can discuss further also on this one, and happy to contribute on that.
Last in-person question, please shout.
Hi. Thank you for a nice presentation. I am Masaki Muto. I'm engaged in the regulatory domain committee. And I also, in Japan, I engaged some implement for BIM building confirmation in Japan. So I have a question in point of the social implementation or social consensus making of ACC. So how do you define the IC properties required by a code check this in case? In other words, the definition of regulatory information requirement. And we treat some in the working as a Tommy Henton led working. And is it moving towards a social implementation of this automated review, checking, and definition of the RRI in China? Please, your opinion.
Maybe I can answer the first question. So you asked about the information requirements. Is it?
Yes. In this, your project or how is in the Chinese situation? Both also okay.
Okay. So our solution consists of two parts, mainly technically. So the first one is the IDS checking, which checks the quality of the models to ensure that the model has the necessary data it should have. So it's a good model. Then we move to the next step. So after we have a good model that's in good quality, we check against the building codes. So if you have a bad model, there's it's not necessary to check the building codes anymore. Yeah, and I think the workflow for us is to first determine the building codes and translate it into SNL, and from that we can decide which information we need for the model, and then we develop the rules for the quality check part. So it comes from the making of.
Yes, how will IDS be used to check the model for fire code compliance?
This is a good question. Oh, I'm sorry, but I've not been the one involved in the process for RIR, and the use of IDS is an essential part of the RIR project. I will put in contact the requester to Tommy Hentinent and Nick Nisbet, and so they will answer you. Maybe already. Because
we have tested that in Norway. I'm happy to hear if anyone else have another experience or knowledge about it. But IDS is suitable for check if the right information is in the model. You cannot use IDS to check if it according to the requirement. So that is important for people to understand.
The step one of SNL, more or less.
Yeah, then you need SNL to check the requirement, I guess.
Maybe step 0. Now, in the meanwhile, where do you report the result of your SNL? Inside the model or
outside the model is
outside the report?
It could be a textual, a Word or RTF file, and it could be a BCF file.
Okay, thank you. Just a short question.
So next one is coming from Ali Ismail. There are three research projects addressing the BIM digital building permits across EU, like the first check, change toolkit for digital building permits, the Accord automating the building permit and compliance, and the third one, digital solution for permit management in construction, DigiChecks. I wonder if forming a EU open BIM forum is necessary, taking account the big overlap and also that projects of BSI are usually much slower than EU funded projects. It's a long one, but I think it's fun.
Okay. Well, we are looking for European funds, and we are also monitoring the European funded project. So hopefully we can achieve better results by joining our effort. I don't know if I answered the questions.
I don't know either. So maybe we move on to the next.
Okay.
If you since answer Anna's response is still not satisfied, please keep posting message during the chat. It's totally fine. The next one is for Google, I think. There are two questions around SNL model checker coming from Xingyue Wen. Is there a BIM modeling guide for the model checker? How is conveyed to the user? What info should be included in the ISA model for checking? And the second one is, what's the accuracy rate of the model checks?
Yeah, I think Xinyi is perfect for this question because she's doing.
Use the mic, please. Use the mic.
Okay, I can answer that. For the first step, the step 0, we start from the model quality check, and of course we have a menu for the users, and usually it includes like what kind of classification or naming you need to have in the model, and properties and materials, etc. Yeah, and we distributed before the system went online, I guess, and we do a training for of the menu to all the clients. And what's the next one? The second one?
What is the accuracy rate of the model checks?
Oh, the accuracy rate. Okay. I guess it's not 100%, of course, but it's enough. It's high enough to make sure the building codes can be checked. So it's like, because usually for the computer system, it's kind of impossible to do like 100% accurate. And also because of the translation of the building codes from natural language to structural natural language is like not. So it has different understanding. So it's like, and we are facing hundreds of models. So it's not like perfect and 100%, but it's good enough.
Yeah, it depends on different regulations. Generally, 19% is accessible testing rate, 90%.
Okay, let's move on. The next one is coming from Dan O'Gorman. Does your solution validate that the performance and prescriptive specifications established by the designer and expressed in BSI IDS is used to filter out equal and better products that can be used on the building? Get lost it? So move on next. Can you back to your last slide? So please, Dan or Gamma, you can contact them if you have further question. Okay, back to the last slide. Yeah, give you the contact. The next one is coming from Zhao Ying Chu. Can I check how difficult is it to modify checking parameters? For example, for the railing height check from 1.1 meter to change to 1.2, can it be done by users?
Yes, of course.
Let's go ahead. How hard is to develop the relationship checking module for SNL? You have easier shared that there are 49 relationships that can be checked. Can the list of 49 relationships be shared with us?
Yeah, very hard. It's not easy because just for one kind of a relationship, we have a different kind of geometry, like a BREP geometry, mesh geometry, and CSC geometry. So there's at least we have one algorithm, but generally we have a lot of algorithm to support one kind of a relationships. We worked about 10 years following the lead of Professor Gu Ming to make this works. Very hard.
Thank you. The last one from online is Alexander. For Google, do you use BICD as a base dictionary for SNL?
We use something similar. It's a building dictionary, and it has the mapping of objects, but no properties.
So let me ask add additional one question: why you don't use BICD?
I think in the previous years, it is not easy to access the foreign website in our place. But recently, I think it is possible. But we are not. We are used to make our own solution.
So we still have 1 minute. If someone has one last question? Shout, please. If not, I think it's a wonderful, successful session. Do you have some sentence to say?
Thank you very much for being here so late in the evening, in the closing of the day.
Thank you. So thank you. For online attending, thank you for attending today, and we're looking forward to seeing you in the other sessions of the summit. Goodbye.